Welcome to the May 29th bhyve production user call. We have Hans, Andrew, Richard, Harry, Patrick, Alexia, and myself so far, and the BSD CAN conference is coming up. We could use any and all sponsorship. We are looking good, but we'd love a little more of a buffer. And in bhyve news, there is a new project that was in the FreeBSD quarterly report. I believe it'll be pronounced Sylve. I could be wrong. And it is sponsored by the FreeBSD Foundation, and it is in a combination of JavaScripty stuff and Go, I believe, and it aims to be a rather comprehensive management system for all the things, bhyve, jails, ZFS, and FreeBSD. It is in Svelte language. It is in TypeScript, SCSS, HTML shell, and other. According to the docs, some of those dependencies are hoping to be removed later in life. It's aiming to give a Proxmox-like experience. And let me see if I can find that reference. It has dependencies on things that have nothing to do with bhyve, but they hint at their future scope, such as SmartD, packet filter, and other things. You do not need those enabled for it to start up. And let's see, you will want to take a look at the JSON configuration file, which specifies a VTnet adapter, which is not going to be a thing for your host insofar as there's no nesting in bhyve. But I've dropped in my steps to create it, build it, make it happen. I do have syntax to validate your JSON with a JQ and just look at the file, make sure you got that right. A colleague thought they were missing a comma somewhere, but maybe that was their own mistake. But you basically produce this little, adapt this config file to your liking, and then start the thing up. And you get a login prompt followed by this. I have not gone as far as trying to spin up a virtual machine, as I already have VM bhyve working on the same system, and it's on bridge networking. Let's see what it's gonna, if it'll even recognize that. Interfaces, bridge 0. There we go. Tap 0. That's a system running elsewhere under. And congratulations, this is literally as far as I have gone with this. So you're seeing it live now and under. Ooh, pretty pictures, pretty graphs. Okay. Pool stats. Okay. I have my build stuff from my weekly build option survey goodies. Volumes. I have no volumes. Snapshots. Do I have any snapshots? I don't know. Utilities. So, for those who may have also bumped into this project, this is what it looks like, and it was not too difficult to get up and running, but I have not, say, attempted to create a VM, nor do I see where to create a VM, but hey, such is life. Ooh, is there a built-in shell? Yes, there is, and it's in tmux. Okay, that's cool. That's Patrick, I trust you'll recognize that from a certain storage operating system that has integrated such things to some degree. Ooh, and they blur the background. Fancy. Storage. Okay, so slightly counterintuitively, I do not know what button to click to create a VM, but I will check whatever docs they have. So any questions about this or anywhere you want me to click?
Where can I find more information?
Okay, that is in this project link.
Because a
Uh,
Google search didn't come up with it. So,
right, it's pretty fresh, and there will be very, very few mentions. About the only real mention has been the FreeBSD quarterly report. Um, but yeah, it fundamentally it may spin up without too much trouble on a Lumos, especially given that I'm just
okay,
getting a
found it.
GUI without even doing bhyve things yet. Storage utility summary? Yeah, I don't see like unless I'm blind, like create VM or new VM or something. Started from.
Possibly instead of the data center, select the B-Link node in the leftmost column.
That seems to be a drop down that's down.
Mhm.
I don't know if I can I make it go away in data center.
Yeah.
Okay. Network storage utilities. Utilities. So yeah, but although they're very upfront about the fact that it's alpha level. And let me refresh that. Was that indeed updated an hour ago, or is that last time I loaded it? That was an hour ago. So yes, it is. It is in flight, possibly in preparation for BSD Can in a week or so. So watch this space. Um, I should figure out how to update it as it's going along, which might just be rerun the build script. So there it is. That is, I'm going to call it Sylve, but I could be wrong on that pronunciation. Let's see. SS, welcome. Do you have any topics or questions for the call? You didn't see that coming, did you? And I've dropped a screenshot in the document just for posterity. Okay, other topics, questions, ideas, funny jokes, plans for BSD Can, weekend plans.
I
Alrighty,
was
go
wondering,
ahead. Yes, Harry.
I was wondering if anybody had any experience using bhyve as like a pass through, or like almost like a serial or UART pass through for an external device connecting to the host machine. So think like maybe you have a microcontroller or something, and you want to do some debugging, or you want to test like a TTY that you've been developing. Uh, I understand you can do this with Cameo. I was wondering if anybody has any experience doing this sort of thing with bhyve, and if they have any tips or tricks that go about that sort of thing.
One, do you have a link to the QEMU handling of it?
Yes,
Great, drop that
I can
in.
find the man page now.
And for what it's worth, you could put your serial device in as a PCI pass-through device. Unfortunately, the modern PC generally has like one USB bus. So if you do pass it through to a VM, you generally lose hardware, keyboard access, etc. So keep that in mind. I even detached my storage I was booted from, not realizing, uh-oh, that was a USB drive I temporarily booted from and detached it live, and it said, hey, pool suspended. Yeah, good goodness. And there's no way to recover from that short of rebooting. So, yes, Harry, I recall you doing some rather cool uh, development with embedded systems, was it? And Raspberry Pi
Yes, so
last
I'm
round.
writing like a
Oh,
set of
the
firmware
libc.
and operating. Yeah, the libc. I'm currently porting the. Now I've got the board, so I'm porting the C runtime to use to be native to the Pico 2W. So I've had to change from AArch 64 to ARM V8 Thumb 2 instruction set, and that's come with quite a fair bit of debugging, and this has
Oh,
been something that I want to I want to do more and more with bhyve, and as the host machine that I run FreeBSD on would be optimal for uh optimal for doing a lot of the host side dev work, um as opposed to the laptop I'm currently using just because of toolchain issues.
understood. Well, when it comes to something like Serial, I can simply think, uh, is there a Vert IO device that might be your friend, be it a, let's take a look at the manual page, or a hardware pass-through. Go ahead and look up the QEMU thing to follow, and
Yeah, I just found the
I'll
command
log into a sec.
to do a serial pass through over a USB port. I just gotta find the
Sure.
zoom.
There is definitely not USB pass-through as of yet, but that's been
It's
requested.
thing that my machine's the only ports they have are like like two USB-C ports. It's really frustrating.
I see.
Um,
Okay, I
so
confess I've
this is
never
the
tried the
command I would
PCI
use.
UART device. So here's the manual page. There is a UART device. That might be
Mm.
your friend, and that's using Sylve as the shell into that system. I was going to go head over to.
Nice.
Yeah, so anyway. Uh, hmm. Boom. So there's your syntax. But I'd be curious about the device configuration in the config file, maybe. What if there, maybe
Yeah,
it's
let me get
documented.
the actual Camus flag. I had it here a second ago.
And that's
Yeah, here it is.
passed through, maybe? Right.
It's super simple
Okay.
actually. Just setting serial to a USB device.
Oh, okay. Never too late. Welcome, Hazam.
Hey guys,
Hello.
hello.
Are you on the list here? Just one sec. So we're talking about Harry's serial configuration for development on Raspberry Pi type devices, configured as. And does it simply pass that through? It detaches it from the host as
Yes,
an
so
individual device? Oh,
the serial zero flag that you'd put in a Camus configuration, that is a uh I believe that's just a straight pass through. It shouldn't like interfere with the connectivity on the host machine. So
I see.
um yeah, but I guess in the same vein, um as this line of questioning, has anyone got any experience with like like freestanding beehive environments, so like booting straight into like a simulated flash ROM or something, and how do they find that experience instead of like using beehive to emulate a system or an operating system, but instead going straight into like a configured binary that's running on
Ooh,
a target CPU.
I have a thought that might you may find interesting. Take a look at Rob Norris's quiz. Rob Norris
Do you
quiz.
have a link for
I'm
that?
working on that right now. He gave a talk
Thank you.
at Asia BSDCon, and I believe BSD Can IC. The videos are out there. Rob is delightful, who's been on the ZFS calls. Here's a link to that. Let me into a binary. So what he's doing, see quiz.
Oh wow, this is very
So
relevant.
he's doing ZFS development. So what he wants to do is have like a ZFS OS binary that he can control C kill, even though it happens to be a virtual machine, happens to be
Mm.
running Linux, et cetera, et cetera. So let's see, presentation slides, presentation info. What about his? Probably that's a link. Oh, let me drop the whole view on the same page. So we'll take a look at that. Welcome, Hazam. We just gave a tour of Sylvia, this new tool for managing bhyve on FreeBSD that is rather alpha, and they admit it, which is fine. And we're discussing Harry's embedded development and Rob's quiz, which is a simple little front end to bhyve that just makes it look like a user space application. Very cool and does exactly what he needs for his development work. Oh, there's a demo running quiz. It boots almost instantly. I believe, yeah, Linux VM, and he'll probably do
Hmm.
some ZFS stuff.
And so this is a VM that's specifically running his development branch, I guess, of the OpenZFS project.
That would be my take on it. Yes, it's like bare
Oh,
minimum
cool.
OS to get him
Mm.
in close proximity to that infrastructure. Oh, here we go. Creating a Z pool of memory back device. Okay.
Oh, this feels
Oh,
very much like a Kemu flag. Oh, that's cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not inspired by
And
it,
wait, and so
though.
this is gonna just execute that series of commands on the. Oh, this is very cool.
Yeah,
And
it's
this you can get to this link from the the presentation notes.
yes, it's in the doc. It's that's his sort of parent page to it. I
Ah,
put
yeah,
that in
I
the
found it.
chat
I
and it's
found
in
it.
the
Thank
document
you.
there.
I see it there.
Is that
This
a
is very
step
interesting.
closer to what you're trying to achieve?
Yeah, so I'm currently writing uh the code. So I'm currently writing the CRT0 object, which will basically the like you know how the entry point to like a C program is the main function.
Hmm.
What calls the main function? Well, the main function is called by the entry point, and there's like a hardware side of the entry point, which is defined by the machine itself, and then what I'm writing is the libc side of the entry point, which is called by the specific process run by the hardware, and then this sets up the stack, the heap, everything, and uh,
Okay.
all the different data segments. And then once you set this up, you can go into the main function. And
Hmm.
this is what I'm currently writing. So this would allow me to then boot into executable, just like Quiz is doing. I'm
Build the kernel.
interested to
Quiz
see
kernel.
if this is running the previous decon, or did
Well,
it
that
say
was a
Debian
Linux
kernel?
guest for his development, so Linux
Ah, okay.
quiz, but under, I believe, FreeBSD. Well, bhyve.
Very interesting.
So yeah, he's a delight to work with. He's verbose on his
Mm.
information. Blog post here.
Relevant to what we were speaking about last week or the week before about the nano VMs.
Yes, correct. And if I failed to remember that, my bad. Micro
Oh, no, it's fine.
machines. Here we go. Yes. So
Very
yes, I hope
interesting.
that there goes your weekend.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. So yes, I'll put that quiz, blog post. Yeah, Rob is a delight. So, hey Zam, what's on your mind?
Am I audible? I
Yes,
think.
sir.
You are very audible.
Okay, that's good. I actually write Sylve, so if you guys, want to talk about that a little bit,
You write what?
the Sylve project that you have a
Oh,
screenshot
you
of, right?
do? Hey, there you go. Welcome. So, uh, what I did was, so it's pronounced Sil. Thank you. That's half the battle. My
No, no, I
colleague,
actually intended it to be named Sylvie, but
yeah.
people started pronouncing it Sylve, so I kind of just stuck with it.
Okay, well, I'm also calling it like Sylhive because it got the VE and the Y. I'm like, oh, it must be trying to do that. So
Uh-huh.
I ran through it. We saw a bunch of, be it random order warnings, et cetera, but it did eventually run, and I've got it running as we speak, and I was using it to get a manual page for Harry there.
So
So,
since
Oh, that's so
we've
cool.
yes,
so
Andrew.
since we've got you here, I certainly have questions. Um,
Okay.
Notably, uh, I'm in the Illumos world, so how happy are you with the idea of doing cross-platform? And is the
Um,
design such that
that's a
that's
very good
feasible?
question, and I would love to do that, to be honest. Because the thing is, I'm using bindings as much as I can. Like for virtualization, I use libvirt. For some PCI stuff and things like that, like I just committed a new thing today evening that was basically for PCI pass-throughs.
Yeah, we noticed
So
that on the call. Like it was like, okay.
I so
Yeah, it looks like you're
all
developing
these
quite
things.
quickly.
Oh yeah, I kind of like. I have been thinking about this for a long time, ever since I started using Proxmox, because Proxmox is such a pain to use PCI pass-throughs with or ZFS with. So I kind of just wanted it to, happen as fast as possible. So yeah, that's what. And to answer your question, yeah, I would love to do that, to be honest. But the first milestone is for FreeBSD, and since it's Go and it's very easy to make it cross-platform, I think it should be possible. Yeah.
Okay.
Is the Go ecosystem generally pretty good on Illumos, Andrew and Hans?
I mean, we've got a Go package. Go works.
Nope. Okay.
The biggest issue I could see is that, and this is a discussion that has come up in the past, we handle our networking very differently.
Mm-hmm.
So that would probably have to be some kind of like a completely separate module type of thing where we're recognizing that, okay, you're on FreeBSD, you're on Lumos, at least that one thing has to be handled differently.
Mm-hmm. And the other
So
thing about Go is I'm sorry.
go ahead. No, it's your project.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing about Go is the fact that a lot of C is very much interoperable. Is that the word to use?
Yeah.
Because I wrote a
Portable.
lot of C in the last few days
Okay.
just so I can get networking and PCI stuff the way I wanted it to be. And when I deal with C, it's a lot simpler than finding modules or wrapping around CLI code, and I kind of don't like that. So like if you see in the package directory, that is the package that I expose to the outside world. So in that I have PCI stuff. If you go on the system, you can see that there is a PCI conf library that I just wrote. So this is just so that I can get the PCI devices from the machine. So I wrap around whatever FreeBSD has to offer. So if I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to do this with Linux or Illumos or whatever it is, I can just extend this. So that would be kind of cool.
Okay.
So all these things, like in network iFace as well, I have done some work to get like interface definitions, IP addresses, all that kind of stuff. So yeah.
The nice thing about Go-based projects is that we have a lot of tooling in the ports framework. So it's a bit of repetitive work that you need to do to set up the initial makefile and everything, to pull in all the necessary modules, but it leads to very robust, very repeatable port build processes and easy updates of a port from an upstream product like a GitHub repo like this. And in the end builds, if I'm not mistaken, statically linked binaries. So
That's right,
the installation footprint is also always very manageable. We don't need to pull in the entirety of LLVM or whatever, or the Go framework to actually run the software once we made it a port and consequently a package with Poudriere. So I really like working on Go-based upstream products. It's fun and produces good packages.
And one additional question, I'm sorry.
Don't be.
Trying not to kill myself.
What's the plus?
Is there any way to, since you're building this framework to be able to use to manage this stuff, is there any way to like webhooks to hook into it? I am presently using a product using Proxmox that's using its API to spin up VMs and whatnot, and for virtual desktop work. And so I've been working with these guys. They're great to work with, and they have no problem adding additional services, software that they to work with. So I would be very interested in that, if that's possible. I don't know what you're looking at.
Like I think I didn't understand the question completely, but like, are you talking about like APIs and stuff, like
Yes.
HTTP APIs?
A management
Oh yeah,
API?
definitely. Like the thing is, when we started the project, it was supposed to be API first, GUI later.
Ah,
But we
okay.
kind of started going at it together. So if you go into the like the docs in the Git repo, you can see that I have exposed. I mean, I have written the Swagger docs over there, so it gets updated every time I make a commit.
Okay.
So
I'm
you can
cutting it
use
over
that
there.
API to kind of do everything that Sylve can from the GUI. So because we use
Swagger.
that API to interact with, yeah.
That's very interesting to me.
Yeah.
As promising as
That's
this looks, we are, of course, years away from a proper complete appliance like product or anything like Proxmox, because we need to all the configuration management and everything, and that also needs to be abstracted in some way. So we need a proprietary product configuration database that then generates the FreeBSD configuration instead of modifying things on the FreeBSD host right away. If we want to be portable and ship a polished product at any time later.
That's right. Yeah.
is
Like, I mean, every appliance product I've ever seen, be it built on Linux or on FreeBSD, like OpenSense, like TrueNAS, they have their own configuration database, XML, SQLite, whatever suits the developers best, and then generate the Linux or FreeBSD configuration in a one-way street way at boot from that proprietary database. So we have a single source of truth that you can back up, copy from one system to another one, etc., etc. Modifying live configuration is not good procedures in configuration management.
Is it using a configuration database for everything we've done in the GUI, if anything?
Yes. Yes. We use a
Where does that
SQLite
live?
database to
Oh,
store
okay.
everything.
Okay,
Can
SQLite, that's
you
great.
tell me like a path or something, or what? How can I
It's
poke
in
at it?
the project directory in data directory. Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
Goodness, there it is. Okay, so these bin/data. Uh, that answers my question. However, number one question: How does I'm using VM bhyve on the system? There is a running VM, which many users will probably do when they try this. How do I attempt to create a VM?
Okay, so the thing is, I kind of went at it by doing the base stuff first.
Okay,
So I
no worries.
built the storage backend first, and
Okay,
then the networking thing. And now I just finished the PCI pass-through stuff.
okay.
So yeah, and I'm kind of building the building blocks before I kind of jump into the VM stuff. But today I committed just the base structure for how the VMs will look like. Like for me, the most important thing is PCI pass-through because I use that a lot in my workflow. So I kind of went that way first, and then memory, and then CPU, all that kind of stuff. And I had a lot of trouble getting libvirt to work how I wanted it to. So that's also another thing. But I think it's not bad. Like, yeah.
Is libvirt a path forward for you? Is it looking good?
I'm not really sure to be honest because I kind of I'm hacking around it at the moment. But the bhyve, like the bhyve CTL, and maybe directly interacting it with C might be easier for me. But if there are people working on libvirt, that would be great because then, like as the gentleman earlier said, it would be much easier to port stuff between Linux and Linux
Right.
or
And that was kind
whatever
of the
the operating
goal.
system.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
I believe they
So.
had a 3.0 release not too long ago, be it libvirt or,
Mhm.
and this came up on a recent call for what it's worth. So there is that activity, but it's always been a bit dodgy on non-Linux systems. So, okay, so it's waiting on the bhyve elements, no worries at all. Okay, about that, GUI later. Actually, let's look on the doc here, libvirt. So that came up for Zen on FreeBSD, which is a thing underappreciated. And I'm just searching the doc here.
Are you working in C for the libvirt support or using the libvirt Go package?
Oh,
At the
advanced.
moment, I'm using the libvirt Go package written by I think DigitalOcean or something like that.
Mm.
But I probably probably would have to write my own wrappers a little bit because a lot of the backend functions are like not supported by libvirt. So that's that. It would be cool to have though. Like the issues that I have are like I don't think it'll be much difficult, very difficult to solve. But
The issues that you have on the GitHub in
no,
are
I
they
mean like
tracked over
the
there?
libvirt library, right?
Mm,
So it has a few quirks which I would like to not have, but it gives me a lot of flexibility in terms of configuration and stuff. So I'm not going to
mm.
complain too much. So yeah.
And it was Ed Mast, a name you hopefully know, who was asking about libvirt updates in FreeBSD on a recent call. So that's a good sign, especially considering that he's with the foundation. So I wrote this with the rumor of your project in mind because it wasn't quite public until recently. There was sort of rumblings like, oh, the foundation wants to support a front end. So I wrote a thing about what I considered off the top of my head bhyve requirements. That's probably too far, but I'm going to copy that and put it into its own document, which I was thinking, here we go, to mention at the developer summit at BSDCan. So let me make this visible and shared. Name before bhyve requirements. Continue with your questions while I prepare this. Anyone with the link? I'll put it for now in commentary just because it's commenter done. Okay, so to whom it may concern, here's a formatted version of what I had on the minutes some time ago. And the motivation was the fact that all those bhyve management tools, of which I am guilty of producing one of the earliest ones and got arthritis out of it, they all ran into the same issues. So let's do our best as a team to avoid those same issues. Moved to here. Okay, so there's that. I will get us back on track. SYLV, so there we go. So, do you want to original goal? My goals, bhyve requirements, and we can go through those in a second here. Harry, thinking of you, I could not get an Ampere system to boot FreeBSD, but apparently it's well supported and working, and have a nice day. So I will try an ISO over IPMI rather than the MD device. I will then also show you what I'm talking about here. We've had a great many discussions of things like S6RC, thank you, Jan, on these calls, and proper process supervision, because virtual machines do not behave like your average start your mail server at boot and shut it down when you shut down the host. Now they can come and go repeatedly. A VM might reboot 3 times during an update, and that's just not the whole Unix way of doing things. So I've given some examples there. I have given examples of, say, host and VM communication, which is often covered well by guest services, guest plugins, VMware tools, whatever. Networking is an absolute can of worms, of course. Storage is a can of worms. And gee, I'm curious if Proxmox lets you replace a ZFS zpool disk in 2025 yet. The fact that it's a GUI managed system but hasn't handled that traditionally is a surprise.
Not in a GUI. is the answer.
Gee, so it's not an appliance. Oh, I thought it was. My mistake. Anyways, I have my kind of uh, love-hate relationship with Proxmox, and they've been out for fun
Eh,
with my
I've got mine as well.
cancellation. Okay. Moving on. Uh, through a number of experiences,
What
Hans is working on CPU ID progress inspired by Lumos's code in bhyve, and it gets rather detailed on how you want to configure a system such as Harry's serial device pass-through and only that. And then I get into web interface type stuff. So uh, it's like, is it, safe? Is there two-factor authentication? Is it API friendly, as you've pointed out? Actually, and then is it, disability friendly? Is it color schemes that work for those who are colorblind? API options. I'll just keep it simple there. Jan had some comments, and yes, when looking at like, oh, let's have a GUI to configure parameters. Here it's like the 1200 VMware parameters you can set, which is terrifying. So there's the document. I've shared it in the chat. I've linked it in the minutes, and I've been meaning to polish this up a bit. So I thank you for the motivation you have inadvertently provided.
I
So
can offer
back to
some
our regular programming. Yes, please.
opinionationness on um, the on what a file system layout should probably look like, because
Okay.
I absolutely loathe the way Proxmox does it.
Okay. Yep. That was the first thing I had to work around is like, okay, how do I trick it into doing what I want? Or more importantly, what I have. If I have a sophisticated layout from another management tool, it's
I
like,
eventually
no, I don't want to move everything from, zvols to files or vice versa or whatever. Go ahead. I'll stop my rant.
I eventually gave up on getting it to do what I truly want. But
Alrighty then.
um,
Can you give a quick preview of what the elevator pitch on what you think your
yes,
correct environment storage looks like?
yes. What I would like to see is I would like to see each time you make a VM, it creates a ZFS file system for the VM. Within that below that file system, it can either have Z volumes for the disks or possibly file-based within it. And then I would also like it to have all of the metadata for that VM stored in a file within there. That way we can transfer everything we need at once with a ZFS send and receive.
Yep.
We can snapshot it. Everything just works.
And
That's
I'll
my
say
elevator pitch.
file. And now various folks got really excited about using ZFS properties to like have the entire VM documented. And then they found that those are administrative operations and the entire system would freeze a little while that one VM updates its name because it's, well, an administrative operation. It has to be completely atomic and, clean across the entire pool. So just heads up there.
I'm fine with it not being. I'm fine with that not being a thing, and we just
Sure.
we just shove a file in that
Yeah. Oh, amen.
file system.
I'm backing you up on that of using a
I got
file.
no problem with
Yeah.
that.
Great. Do you have
But
a
it need
configuration language of choice?
nope. I'm easy.
Okay.
I've
So
used so many. I don't care.
Go
can I ask a
ahead.
question?
Yes,
So
please.
Sure.
so you say you want the metadata and the actual VM data itself to be in a single like a single image almost like a ISO how ISO works, I guess. Um, what do you think about the existing like QCal these sort of like VM file systems that are based on like a single file uh
Person
that you
personally,
like
I've
yeah.
avoided them as much as possible because I find that um, if I have raw, I can use it anywhere.
Even on real
Nothing has a
hardware,
problem.
by the way, on
Yeah,
certain OSs. Thank you very
nothing
much.
nothing has a problem with raw. QCal and the like, I usually have to do some kind of conversion and deal with that, which I don't really want to do.
Correct. And most people in these calls are in ZFS land, and you get the copy and write and the snapshotting along free of charge, and it works extremely well and it's extremely proven. So I totally get how QCOW2 and to some degree the other formats, be it VMware, VMDK, whatever, they were the workarounds 15 to 20 years ago, but now we get all that for free. So a raw device on ZFS is
Michael
doing really well.
is definitely pointing out my bias. I use nothing. I am nothing but ZFS, so I'm assuming everyone is using ZFS, which is probably not fair.
I'm not even using files, not even raw ones. I mean, we have ZFS. We use, of course, ZVols for virtual blocks, disks, because virtual disks are by definition block devices, and a ZVol is a block device, and it just works.
There you go.
And I think I think that would be the way I would like to be using it in an environment like this.
Yeah.
But I could see if somebody wanted to use a file back device on it, let them. It doesn't
Amen.
hurt.
I do it frequently. It allows you to round trip to physical hardware because it's simply a block device. And yes, you can know the ZVol, but you have to worry a little more about how you handle things. But anyway, I will throw in my comment I stand by, which is I cannot understand running a Windows server that is not backed by ZFS elsewhere. So you can like roll back to no good point in time. We'll try it. So, Hezam, if I pronounce that right, is that helpful? Any questions for the group? Any comments on the requirements?
The requirements look really cool, and yeah, networking is the thing that I'm not really confident about. But I really like the snapshot pre-start and post that stuff. That's really cool. I could implement that because
Right.
Yeah.
And I did that with a simple pre and post script for VM bhyve. And I like VM bhyve, but it did things like resequencing PCI devices that made my VM, the money counter, literally a money counter for a business, not boot. It's like, okay, nope, can't do that stuff. It has to be a consistent, like predictable machine, ideally to a point that you're specifying a CPU serial number, you're specifying every possible parameter you can collect, you can press down is my kind of long-term desire here, but that's just maybe me. But hey, if VMware has 1,200 parameters to adjust, let's find the like top 100, not all 1,200. I mean, it's like
If you're
oh, gee.
complaining about it, I guarantee you someone else is too, even if it's not me.
Can I specify the brand of mouse? And yes, there were people for VM. Thank you, Alexi. There were people specifying the name of a hypervisor just so that the GPU pass-through was working better and other tricks and tips. So anyway, I digress. Anyway, I hope to have some Ampere news on a bhyve status report of bhyve on ARM64 by BSDCan, which would be ThunderX and a few other systems in my little lab. Is anyone else doing fun stuff on ARM64? Looking at
I
you, Harry.
actually just got I bought the little microcontroller, but I realized I didn't have an adapter to turn the SD card into USB, but I just got that today, so I'll be
Oh, okay.
also trying out previous like a slim down FreeBSD on AH64, but it's a dual processor board, so it can also be RISC-V. So I'll be trying to do that.
Can you name a product?
Yeah, so it's the Raspberry Pi Pico 2W board, which is a dual processor um, uh, ARM 8V and RISC-V. I can't remember the exact RISC-V chip, but um, the
ARM-v8 was
ARM
it?
chip is the ARM chip is a Cortex M33. And the other one I've got, which is going to be the FreeBSD that I'm gonna try today is a Raspberry Pi Zero 2W. So these are two boards with wireless and there's
Fascinating.
Wi-Fi and Bluetooth support. So it's gonna be fun to try do the Wi-Fi on that. But I guess I did also want to ask what would you recommend the best way to reach out to some of the like the dev team and try support on some projects to be, because I've tried the IRC channels in a Discord, but I find it's very hard to be like in sync with that because I want to try help with the port to the Apple Silicon
Oh, you do?
for
Oh, yes.
FreeBSD.
Oh, goodness. Talk to Kyle Evans about that.
Yeah, I've
Um,
messaged him and he's replied saying it's very hard to uh talk over Discord. I just didn't know where the best way to really do that would
each
be.
person is somewhat platform specific and hides in their own little corners of the world, guilty as charged. So somewhere between the mailing list and the Discord IRC, apparently there's a Slack channel. There all have been all sorts of things. One
I'll try the
advantage of the
mailing
mailing
list.
list is that it's very kind of just stay formal, but it's kind of public and it shows that, well, you
Mm,
clearly asked this question and it's hard to ignore it rather than IRC where it's maybe a few minutes later, you don't see anything that was being discussed. I
yeah.
have no opinions on this. Truly. Haha.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I think
Cool.
the public nature of the mailing list might go to my favor there.
And ping me if you have any questions on that. If you can find me on one of the channels, be it Discord, be it wherever. I I don't know. There's also Telegram, which is quite popular, and certain groups like I
Oh, is
think,
there a Telegram channel?
yes, very much so. There is the GhostBSD folks are quite active there. Uh,
Interesting.
ARM people like Fred Finster are there. He's in Oregon also. It's a it's a challenge insofar as, oh, I remember Harry sent this great link to that product I'm looking for, but I don't know if it's in, Signal, Telegram, uh, Matrix, or Skype, or Teams, or Discord, or IRC, or I'm probably missing a few. Yeah.
Mm.
So, has other any roadmap ideas you can share? I think many people are quite excited about your effort. We're all here to help as best we can. I don't know. Other questions from
I
folks?
would by I think June 10th or something like that. I'm trying to get a VM running with
Okay.
a console and stuff. So I'm kind of excited about that. I think that'll be the first big milestone for us because I want the VM to be running on Z-Walls. I wanted to have snapshots. I wanted to have pass-throughs and all these kind of stuff because I've been building up to it. So yeah, I
Yeah,
think that
totally.
would be that would be the thing that is in the roadmap at the moment.
Is there any chance you'll be at BSD Can?
Unfortunately, no. I'm yeah, I'm all the way here in India, and I'm not sure, how I can even make it there.
Understood. And there are travel
Yeah.
grants. Your proximity to the foundation through this project makes you a good candidate, I'll just say. But
I
hey,
just I just subscribe to your repository on GitHub, and I will happily help you with creating the FreeBSD port, so
oh,
people can
cool.
package all the software once you met that goal to be able to fire up a VM. I think it's
Yeah.
we,
Thank you so much.
I think I should start then.
And do you have anything else we can do to help?
I would say don't test it right now, maybe.
Hey.
Because I kind of work in public so that I write semi clean code. I
Okay.
would to think, and I'm so glad that you're using the terminal so much because I worked a lot on this.
Did you use an off-the-shelf one? Like,
I
uh,
use the thing that is running like in the GUI is a bunch of different libraries together, but the state management of this was very hard because if you press the
Yeah.
minimize button there, like it doesn't
Yeah.
close, right? I kind of take over tmux and then make it work that way. So
Well,
it's
and
cool to see
Tmux
somebody actually
might
using it.
be a challenge, but here's the moment of truth. I'm going to do a copy and I'm going to attempt to paste. I did 10 years of TrueNAS support and the console was a nightmare because it's like, oh, just run this command and then, oh, it's gone by the time, whatever. So I am going to, here as my witnesses, I'm going to do paste. And it worked great because this would never work on
Yeah,
TrueNAS.
that means you're already beating TrueNAS.
There you go. Congratulations. Uh, yeah, that would be madness. Like, oh, let me get this PID, and then you get copy from over here or here or the next room. It's like, nope, not helpful. So good work on that. Excellent. The terminal supports copy paste. So you are looking good so far. Okay. Andrew, feel free to do a checkout on Illumos and just run through its simple little steps. I literally have them here. Of course, the dependency check will fail right, left, and center, but it's considered optional. So, gee, clone it, type make.
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
have to. It'll probably take me some time to get to being able to do those kind of checks,
Just
but
a small note here, please do text me on Discord or email me. I'm very, very happy to help.
so, uh,
fantastic.
could you ping me on Discord? I'm not too hard to find, either Call for Testing or Michael
Um,
Dexter, just so we're on the same page.
sure.
And Andrew, I'll be curious if libvirt is supported on the
I
Lumos.
think
Let's
it
take a
is.
look.
I haven't done anything with it, but I believe it is.
Okay. Which again, just I very quietly said Ed Mast at the foundation was very curious about libvirt being kept up to date, and that was on like 3 calls back. So yeah, and lucky you, Hazam. There's so many concerns for networking, like NetGraph and VNet and all the things, and higher performance bridges, you name it, such that you will get a lot of that for free, such as NetGraph Buddy from Daniel Bell, a frequent attendee, because
I'm
we
sure
all
Jan will
want.
have opinions.
I'm sure he will. There is a holiday in Germany
He's
he cannot attend today.
he, he speaks to that a lot.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. So I'm doing a quick search of OmniOS and libvirt, not finding it. But so heads up, Andrew, that and Hans, that might be a little
It might end up being a
thing to
project,
pursue.
but if it's not there, then there it needs to be.
Cool.
I mean, this is a if this is getting done, especially if I don't have to do it completely myself, and maybe just help someone else or handle some porting stuff, this is very, very good for me, like business good. So
Which, yeah, I mean, it, to state the obvious, Patrick and Andrew are at companies using JIT, either TrueNAS or Proxmox, to do things on OSs they do not necessarily want to run to just run bhyve. So be it as testers, sponsors, you name it, there is definitely genuine interest out there.
most to put it bluntly,
Yeah, I won't speak for you. Go ahead.
most of my environment is running just bhyve on the console on OmniOS. And so if I can get to where my virtual desktop stuff is doing the same thing, all the better for me. It's one less thing I got to deal with.
Good
And
point on the VDI aspect. You touched on it, but maybe can you describe briefly what that looks for? I think you were either trying guacamole or virtual pipe or some kind of thing on Bob.
we've been moving off of VMware for that type of workload onto Proxmox as the the hypervisor. But the only reason we're going with Proxmox for the hypervisor for that is that the VDI product that we're moving to, which is called UDS, it's made by a Spanish company, Virtual Cable, integrates with it. They integrate with a half a dozen different platforms, though. So if I've got an API, I can probably, especially one that works across multiple OSs, I can probably talk them into creating another binding. So that is where my interest is, and why I'm speaking up so much more than I usually do.
Cool. Well, keep up the good work. It's if I'm reading between the lines, you said boot VMs in early June, which falls on BSD CAN. If you want some attention at the Dev Summit, I'm happy to twist arms, etc.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll try to get something up and running my BSD CAN, hopefully.
Fantastic. Okay, and again, you've had several people ask how they can help, so just keep us posted either through the doc here. Oh, and here's a secret. If you're in a time zone far, far away, I'm sorry if you're like getting up at 3 in the morning for this, but there is always like the last meeting, and sometimes I have framework for a new one. If you simply put your topic here with the date, the correct future date every Thursday, there's a good chance we will all address it, even if you can't make it. Then you simply need to check the doc for the results and then watch the video if there's a recording. So I'll even put it in there for you. So, and of course, I guess it's a normal week next week, but then it becomes very, what was it, the 5th, was it? So, this is the standard template. If you say, please test this patch or something, we will see it. Kind of cool, huh?
Yeah, very cool.
Okay, so next call 2025. This will be the very first time I have ever put in a. Oh, of course, that's during deep BSD CAN. Maybe people show up. They're pretty good about it during BSD CAN. So, insert desired topics and feedback here.
I'll be here because I'll forget that it's BSD CAN anyway.
That's cool. It's just north of you. You can like literally hitchhike, buddy. Come on. I'd like to see you again.
I'm
Come on.
pretty sure they still require passports.
Passport-y? Yeah. Well, isn't it? I wouldn't even.
And mine has expired.
Don't. Okay. Anything else? It's been a great call, and I'm so glad you showed up. Your timing was perfect to the minute. Like, hey, we just gave a demo of your new project, and oh, the developer showed up.
Thank you guys for having me. It was fun, you know.
Yeah, and please reach out whatever way you feel appropriate. Don't
be a stranger. You're absolutely welcome at any time.
Bingo. Eva had some libvirt experience. I'll notify her. Hopefully she'll see the recording. Let's see, Richard, are you still in fly on the wall mode? I'll take that as a yes, which is a yep in chat. It's a perfectly legitimate form of participation. And I cannot emphasize this enough, and maybe there should be an FAQ. You are totally welcome to be a fly on the wall. The other means of participation without even hearing your name given or your voice heard is to put something in the doc, and if it's interesting, we will address it. If it's not interesting, we'll skip right past it. So keep it interesting. Drop it there. Okay. We are missing Jan. He's got a holiday. So Andrew, could you kindly do the honors?
Please like and subscribe.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.
You too. Have fun, guys.